Hey, Josh Tigg, Running T Farms. Morning cattle move. First move of the day over here with our, we got yearlings and spring calving cows in here. These, like that number 15 there looking at us, they're bred to start calving about the second week in May. Got up here to move them the first time. Of course, we are, as always, grazing non-selectively, trying to achieve a very high harvest efficiency. There's a shot at the graze. Here's a shot at the aftermath of a graze. You can see extremely good manure and urine distribution, which is what we like to see. Pretty good manure coming out of these cows. Here's a couple of steaming piles that's just happened, so pretty good consistency. But that is one advantage here, and a reason why we've moved our moving from a fall calving herd to a spring calving herd is it's just incredibly easy to keep condition on these cows, since they are primarily going to be dry or late lactation cows. Now, we did hold these cows open in the process of moving our calving season, so normally they would have a calf on them, roughly we'd be 6 months into lactation, so the cows would be very late lactation, so their nutrients requirements would be a lot less. Or in an extreme case where we had very poor forage quality, we could wean those calves at 6 months of age. I'm not advocating for that always, but it gives you an option. So we know going into winter, we're not growing any new grass. We know that a cow's nutritional requirements during lactation almost doubles. I think it takes about 81 pounds of grass to convert to 1 pound of weaned calf weight. So we want to, there's no way around that. It's necessary, but why would we want to increase the nutrient demand of our cattle that much during the time of year when we're not growing any grass? So we did that for a long time, didn't know better. With the introduction of these Mashona genetics, that's a couple of those right there in front of us are just fantastic looking cows. That number 18 there, this number 15, it's just extremely easy to keep condition on them. There's another manure pat there, so you can see pretty good, definitely good enough nutrition for this stage of production in these cows. I was watching a video. I want to tie this in. I wanted to talk about this. I was watching a video with Alan Williams was talking about, it was a podcast actually, I'm sorry. I was listening to a podcast that he was on. He was talking about some of their rules for adaptive stewardship and all that. And I agree pretty much with what those guys have to say, but he was talking about the rules of disruption, not timing, not being in the same place at the same time, at the same stock density, year in and year out. And I couldn't help but think, wow, with the practice of non-selective grazing, how that just fits in beautifully to what he's saying. There's almost zero chance that you're going to be in the same place at the same density at the same time, probably you might be there once every 5 to 6 years. So I just thought, I don't think he's a proponent necessarily of non-selective grazing. I think they will be. They just hadn't had time to get on board yet. But we graze, the way that we set up our grazing is we try to do it in 4 moves a day. So that by nature is going to determine our stock density a little bit because of the amount of forage on offer. Right now, because there's less forage here, these cows have about double the area. They're probably running at about 400,000 pounds of stock density to the acre right now. Just a week ago, because the paddock that we was in had a lot more forage on offer, we were at double that. We were running at 800,000 pounds of stock density. So this paddock, everything that we grazed during the growing season this year, we're going to rest it during the growing season next year deliberately. We will probably graze it at some point that winter, but the grass will have had all growing season to stockpile, go to seed, give those new seedlings that we're planting right now, and we're creating a great environment here for new grass seeds, legumes, forbs to germinate, and we're going to give them a whole growing season to get up and get established before there's any animal impact on it. But I was just thinking about it's near impossible with a ultra high stock density, non-selective planned grazing approach to be in the same place at the same stock density year in and year out. I would say you would be hard pressed to be at the exact same place at the exact same stock density once every 5 years. But they promote, I guess, a little more planning that out. But the beautiful thing about non-selective grazing is it just takes so much out of the planning. By grazing this way and not coming back until the grass is fully mature, fully recovered and ready to graze again. Every year you got different weather conditions, different rain, so automatically your recovery periods are going to be longer, shorter. If you do like we do and try to just limit it to 4 moves a day, your stock density, which is pounds of beef per acre that you're grazing at any one point in time, naturally is going to be higher or lower depending on the amount of forage that's on offer, because you have to keep your cattle fed. So you have to allow enough forage to get your cattle nice and full every day, and we're going to try to do that in 4 breaks. So depending on the amount of forage, less forage on offer, the stock density is going to be lower, like it is here, about 400,000 pounds per acre, because we have to allow enough forage to keep the cattle fed for a day. So if there was twice the amount of forage here, we could feed the cattle with half as much space, and we would be up close to 800,000. If there's more, we might be up to 1 million plus pounds of stock density. But we're always shooting for a non-selective graze. We do not want to favor any one plant over the other. We do not want to create an overgrazing situation when we would come back, which is what you get forced into with like a take half, leave half, or a take a third, leave a third grazing program. They work pretty good as long as you get plenty of rain and everything goes out, although I still believe they favor unpalatable grass species and unpalatable forb species, because if you allow cattle to graze selectively, that's exactly what they'll do, and they'll graze the best down to the ground, and they'll leave the unpalatable and the stuff they don't like, and that gives it an unfair advantage over the palatable grass. So we've seen tremendous improvement with our land base since we've started implementing non-selective grazing. Highly recommend that you look into it. Full disclosure, it will take a different type of genotype to be successful. One that looks more like this number 18 right here in front of us. This is one of our Mashona Cross Angus animals, and she's just doing beautifully. They're very aggressive grazers. She's just the first generation cross. Here's another one, this number 19 here. Number 15, these are all Mashona Cross British. This 103 right here. All these cattle are doing fantastic. But your straight Angus, Hereford, British bred cattle are going to suffer a little bit. They're just not able to maintain body condition when you ask them to graze non-selectively, and you take away the some of their access to shade. So So we found that with our Mashona Cross cattle, their heat tolerance is exceptional. Their ability to maintain body condition is exceptional. Very aggressive grazers. Are able to graze a whole lot of forage in a short period of time and maintain condition while they're doing it. So those are some things. Here's actually a yearling Mashona Cross steer. You know, a lot of depth in this guy. I will be doing our video. We have our Mashona steers back from processing. They look really great. We've been really busy getting meat in and getting it out. I will do a video with all the stats on dressing weights, pictures of the steaks, all the conversion numbers on those Mashona Cross steers coming up here in a couple of weeks. Probably be after the Christmas season. We're just slammed up here. Our schedule's really full for the next few weeks, but we have those in. We could not be happier with the way those Mashona steers finished out for us, and I will have a video coming out with those. There's another one of our Mashona Cross Angus, this 104 right here in front of us. So they're just beautiful animals. They're working out great for us. So hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. As always, you can check us out online at runningtbeef.com. You can like us on Facebook at Running T Beef. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure and click that like and subscribe button on the way out. And everybody have a fantastic weekend.